For decades, the American middle class believed in a system, not a trend, not a shortcut, a system. Work hard, save consistently, buy a home, invest for retirement. And according to long-term U.S. Census data, that formula once worked. It lifted millions of families into stability and created a belief that if you did the right things, in the right order, the future would take care of itself. But today, something feels different. Paychecks are bigger than they were years ago. Wages have risen. Employment looks solid on paper. Yet financial stress keeps growing. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows why. The cost of everyday life, housing, insurance, healthcare, education, has been rising faster than income. These aren't luxury expenses, they're non-negotiable. So families are earning more, but feeling poorer. This isn't about attitude, it's about behavior. The Federal Reserve reports that a growing share of middle-class households are now using savings just to maintain their current lifestyle, not to build wealth, not to move forward, but simply to stay in place. That alone tells us something important. The old wealth rules were designed for an economy that moved slower, forgave mistakes more easily, and offered more margin. An America where one income could support a household, where debt was temporary, where long-term stability felt predictable. Today's market doesn't work like that. Interest rates stay higher for longer. Asset prices move faster than wages, and financial shocks hit harder and more often. Even mainstream outlets like Bloomberg, CNBC, and the Wall Street Journal now openly question whether traditional middle-class strategies still work the way they once did. So the real issue isn't whether people are doing the right things. It's whether those things still produce the same results. Housing shows this clearly. Data from Redfin and the National Association of Realtors shows home prices rising far faster than wages over the past decade. Buying a home, once the foundation of middle-class wealth, now requires larger down payments, stronger credit, and long-term financial strain. For many households, what used to create freedom now limits flexibility. Saving tells a similar story. Traditional advice says save consistently and let time do the work. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows essentials now consume a larger share of income than in previous generations. So people are saving, but with less margin for error. One medical bill, one layoff, one family emergency, and years of discipline disappear. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances confirms it. Middle-class savings are increasingly being used for short-term survival, not long-term growth. Retirement follows the same pattern. Reports from firms like Morningstar and Fidelity show Americans contributing to retirement accounts, yet unsure whether their money will last through retirement as healthcare costs rise and life expectancy increases. People didn't break the system. The system aged while the market evolved. And that brings us to what actually matters now. The solution isn't panic. It isn't extreme risk. And it isn't abandoning responsibility. It's adapting strategy to how the market actually behaves today. Financial stability in modern America is built less on ownership alone and more on flexibility. That's why financially resilient households prioritize liquidity, keeping cash reserves, avoiding overextension, and treating big purchases as lifestyle choices, not guaranteed wealth moves. Debt is no longer viewed as simply good or bad. In a higher rate environment, high-interest consumer debt quietly destroys flexibility, while controlled long-term debt, managed carefully, can preserve optionality. The focus has shifted from eliminating all debt to managing interest exposure without sacrificing cash flow. Saving hasn't failed. Saving without structure has. In today's economy, emergency reserves are not optional. They're foundational. Households that separate money by purpose, short-term protection, mid-term flexibility, and long-term growth are better positioned to absorb shocks without derailing their future. Investing still matters, but blind, set-it-and-forget-it behavior no longer works the same way. Modern markets move in faster cycles, heavily influenced by interest rates and policy decisions. Long-term investing works best when paired with diversification, risk awareness, and realistic expectations, not outdated assumptions of steady growth. Income has changed too. The modern middle class cannot rely on a single income stream the way previous generations did. This isn't about working nonstop, it's about risk management. Labor data consistently shows households with multiple income sources, even modest ones, recover faster from job disruptions and economic slowdowns. Not more hours, more resilience. And this leads to the biggest shift of all. Old wealth rules focused on accumulation. Modern wealth strategy focuses on durability. The goal isn't just having more money, it's having money structured to survive volatility. Because in today's market, liquidity creates breathing room, flexibility reduces stress, adaptability protects the future. The middle class hasn't failed. It has been playing by rules that quietly stopped working the same way. And the households that recognize that aren't chasing overnight success. They're adjusting. They're staying solvent. They're staying in control. That's what real financial security looks like now. Not loud, not flashy, but built for the market we actually live in. Middle-class stability in today's America isn't about chasing growth at all costs. It's about reducing the number of ways life can knock you off balance. That means holding liquidity even when it feels uncomfortable, keeping commitments flexible instead of permanent, building income that isn't tied to a single employer, a single industry, or a single economic cycle. Because the households that survive downturns aren't the ones with the best spreadsheets, they're the ones with room to breathe. The market now rewards preparation more than prediction. It rewards options more than optimism. And it quietly punishes anyone who confuses tradition with safety. You don't need extreme moves. You don't need shortcuts. You don't need to abandon responsibility. You need strategies that match the environment you're actually in. The middle class didn't fail the system. The system outgrew the rules. And the people who stay secure going forward won't be louder, faster, or flashier. They'll be more flexible, more liquid, and more in control. That's not fear. That's realism. And in today's America, realism is the new advantage.